So a couple of months ago, PopularMMOs got arrested along with his girlfriend at the time, Elizabeth. I talked about the situation for a bit and decided to take a deeper look into things for the sake of it because I was bored, and I also found it pretty interesting, and I felt that there was more to the situation than what we saw. At first, I didn't find too much, just a tweet or two about something I hadn't seen before, but after pulling some strings, what I ended up finding out was much more deeper than I ever could have thought of. But first, let's take a quick recap of what actually happened when PopularMMOs got arrested. So we all saw in his arrest record that he was jailed and released on May 16th, 2021. For the sake of the video, we'll refer to him by his name Patrick, just so it's a lot more clear who you guys know I'm talking about. This was just a quick jail and release for the sake of keeping it on record, but as you're looking through the other records, you can see that there's quotes from two different officers that were at each scene, the one that talked to Patrick at his house and the one that talked to Elizabeth. Now we've already seen the records before, we know they both gave differing stories, but the one from Elizabeth caught my eye in particular. Now we see here that the officer who went to Elizabeth was told by her that Patrick was on top of Elizabeth on the floor and was picking her up and, well, you can see the rest right there. And said, I observed a red mark and scratch on Elizabeth's forearm and abrasions on her knees. Rescue responded and bandaged the injuries. Now this doesn't look to be anything in particular, because Patrick stated earlier to his officer, he never touched or even hit her, even out of self-defense. Patrick was even injured by Elizabeth, which both officers made reference to in their quotes. So it seems to be a he said, she said type of story so far. Patrick claims that he never hit her whatsoever, whereas Elizabeth claims that he did. So that's that. Differing stories, maybe they had a bad night or something. Case closed, everybody could go back home. Well, after doing some digging, I came across this screenshot from Elizabeth's Instagram showing her and the hospital records on the very next day on May 17th. What's interesting here is that you can see her getting treated for the foot abrasion the officer observed, but she is also being treated for a concussion. I found that particularly interesting because Elizabeth told the police her quote, which would lead to a concussion, yet Patrick stated that he never touched her or hit her, even out of self-defense. There's even a picture on Elizabeth's Twitter showing the foot and knee abrasions to be confirmed real, meaning the police officer wasn't wrong in their observation and hospital papers are real. So what gives? Patrick claims he never touched Elizabeth during the fight, yet the evidence falls in line with their claim, so it seems that there's some parts of the event that Patrick failed to mention to the police officer he was with. A couple days later, Patrick released a video called Minecraft Lucky Blocks Decide What I Eat. There's nothing particular in this video other than this piece of paper that he uses with the back saying, I never look at anyone but you. You get in your own head so much. I'm just gonna go sleep alone upstairs. Obviously, Patrick is throwing shade towards Elizabeth. As he mentioned earlier to the officer, Elizabeth is bipolar, and getting in your own head is something often heard with bipolar people. So what gives? All we can see so far is that Patrick seems to have left out a bit of information to the police officer on what exactly happened between him and Elizabeth on that night. The concussion falls exactly in line with what Elizabeth says, but it seems we will never know what truly happened between the two that night for now. Now this is where I would normally call it a video and do my outro spiel, but I remember seeing the name Eleni thrown around a lot on Patrick's Twitter, and he even doxed her out of emotional spite at one point around the time he got arrested, but soon took it down. Now I had never heard of her before this, as I barely watched just a handful of videos from Patrick when I was a kid, but there was something about this that I just couldn't get behind. There was more to the PopularMMOs story that I wanted to uncover, and after pulling a couple of strings, I got into contact with Eleni herself, and what she showed me was something I was not expecting. So to do a quick recap of sorts, back in September of 2020, Patrick and Eleni had a very public breakup. To make it short, Patrick showed text with Eleni to his audience making her look bad, and people started to hate on Eleni. I wasn't around for this time, so I had no idea about any of this going on. I watched a 2-hour archive video of what Patrick said in his channel before he deleted them, and talked with Eleni about it. It turns out, Patrick might have been a little bit dishonest with what he was telling his fans. So what you're seeing here now is the conversation between Eleni and Patrick around mid-August. Patrick is telling Eleni that he is going to Vegas with his brother soon and wants her to come along. The dates are also different in some of the screenshots because I asked for them on separate days, just thought I'd point that out right now before anybody says something. There already seems to be a bit of animosity between the two judging by Eleni's responses, but you can clearly see here that Patrick is saying how he wants to go to Vegas with his brother because he's never gone, and wants Eleni to go too. Eleni declines and that's that, right? The discussion ends on August 18th, Patrick goes to Vegas with his brother, and Eleni stays home. Well, if only that were true. On August 21st, 3 days later, Patrick meets up with someone in Vegas named Veronica around 9 p.m. How do I know this? Well, that's because Eleni got into contact with Veronica, and she showed me these texts right here between Patrick and Veronica to prove that. What's even more interesting to note is that Patrick tells her, "So it will be me and my friend coming. My friend is a girl, by the way. She is really funny. You will like her." Patrick didn't even bring along his brother. He brought along another female friend and never told Eleni any of this. At midnight later that day, they take a pic together in an elevator, and the next day Patrick tells Veronica how he had such a great time and implies that he wants to see her again and travel together. Which they did, as on September 6th, they went to Chicago together and took this pic on the Chicago sky deck at Willis Tower. He even posts on Instagram that he went to Chicago on September 10th, but it seems he went a few days prior with Veronica. All this, mind you, while he was telling Eleni how he loves her, buying her gifts for their anniversary, and buying her flowers that came in on September 4th, all while traveling the country with the woman he just met a few weeks prior. You know what though? I do wonder what exactly did he tell his fans when all this drama was going down around this time?
Here's another thing. This is a complete lie. Poor Pat, just another weight on his shoulder. Pat is literally traveling the U.S. with another girl. He has no idea what is going on right now with anything in the YouTube world or Discord world. I don't know how I would know anything with the Discord world anyways. I'm not on their Discord server. And he's never cared or paid attention to what happened in my life. It's not another weight, trust me. The only weight on his shoulder is... So this is just like a very derogatory thing to me. And this is posted publicly in her Discord where she called herself mom. I didn't travel anywhere with anybody. I traveled places and I met people there for sure. Of course I did. After we broke up, I wanted to do some traveling. But I mean, she's just assuming, I guess. I don't know what she's doing. She could have asked me too. Never said that I was traveling with anyone, for sure.
Oh, well, that's a bit interesting. So we now know that Patrick not only lied to Eleni, but he also lied to his fans as well. The next question is, who exactly was the friend that he went to Vegas with before meeting up with Veronica? As it turns out, this person has actually been on the PopularMMOs channel before. Her name is Haley, and she was in a video dating as far back as January 7th of 2020, so she has been in the picture for quite a while now. Haley first talked with Eleni on September 17th on Instagram, and they had a call together on September 2nd, which was posted to Eleni's TikTok on December 9th.
So, listen. He's such a piece of shit. Okay, so my whole problem with all of this is that he definitely cheated on you. Not just a little fucked up, and I'm so sorry I'm telling you this, but...
No, I want to know, honestly,
He definitely is the one that cheated, which I'm not cool with, but, I don't know you. You're supposed to be my best friend. I'm going to tell you stuff, and you're going to be super pissed off with me, okay?
It's okay.
Okay, so him and I did stuff, but we didn't have sex, months and months ago, when I messaged you on Instagram, and was like, I didn't talk to you, but then he, apologized a bunch, and, pretty much, begged me to not tell you.
If you put the two voices together, you can tell it's the same person.
Wait, when you punched me, it made no sense.
It made sound for me. You don't hear it? Here.
No, it's so weird. What is happening with my sound?
I don't know, but just tell me when you can hear it, okay?
Haley says that Patrick cheated on Eleni with her, and she says she wasn't cool with it once she found out, even though she doesn't know Eleni, so she decided to contact her to talk about it. And ladies and gentlemen, this is when things start to get out of control. Now I know what y'all are thinking. Oh, Lanza, Eleni's just lying to you about all this, and Patrick is innocent. Well, there's always the chance that there are certain things that are photoshopped and I got played. There's one conversation I had with Eleni that gives me the idea that she's not lying. As I was asking her for more evidence and more screenshots, during the conversation we were having, she mentions that Pat bought her and Veronica the same exact gifts. I asked for proof of this, and sure enough, she showed me screenshots of exactly that. The only difference in the gifts was the flower color, but the rest line up. Same teddy bear, same flowers from the same company, and even the same necklace. This showed to me that Eleni wasn't lying, as why would someone lie about something like this in such a serious conversation? It wouldn't make any sense to do so, especially when trying to get someone to help you out. If I was certain she lied to me about any of this, I wouldn't have gone any further and this video wouldn't even exist. So where does all this lead us to? Well, We now know that Patrick lied not only to Eleni about going to Vegas with his brother, but he also lied to his fans about not going on any sort of trip, period. There would be no reason for him to lie unless he felt some sort of guilt to begin with, so take that however you'd like. We know that Patrick went to Vegas with Haley, met up with Veronica, and then went to Chicago with Veronica a few weeks later, all while Eleni had no idea who was involved, only knowing that he went traveling with other girls until Haley tipped her off and told her the truth. That's when things got out of control and the whole internet started to get involved in the whole situation. Not to mention, it seems that Patrick lied to the police about what went down between him and Elizabeth, as Elizabeth's claims of being slammed on the ground fall in line with her getting a concussion. Now it's shown plenty of other things too, such as leaked Snapchat texts from Elizabeth's ex, and the house she drove to was where they were living, which do happen to fall in line with Elizabeth's claims as well, and I was told about some behind the scenes stuff that, while very incriminating, didn't go far beyond the normal he said she said type of situation. But this stuff shows you that Patrick is a liar to not only the person he dated, but to his own fans as well. Eleni ain't no saint herself, but it doesn't look like she was the one lying. I want to quickly mention how in some of the texts between Eleni and Patrick, she states how they were never together and how Patrick used them to paint Eleni as a mentally unstable person. When you're in a relationship for a while and a breakup happens, that's some people's way of coping by being in denial about the whole thing, telling themselves that, oh well, we actually weren't together the whole time, it was just some sort of weird thing going on. It's a perfectly human response to act that way when breaking up with somebody, especially in such a public manner, and Patrick twisted her words perfectly to build up his story. It became a game of chess of sorts, and even though it seems that Pat won at first, we now know he manipulated his way through the game from the very start. I also want to mention the date of this Discord screenshot from the clip of Pat lying earlier. As you can tell by the date, it was sent before September 17th when Eleni talked to Haley first, so how did she know Pat was cheating? Well, on August 31st, Eleni and Pat had an argument about how he cheated on her with another girl that I won't be naming due to her not having much relevance to the entire situation, and right around early September, that girl posted an Instagram story of her and her two friends hanging out with Pat at the Casa Marina Hotel and Restaurant in Jacksonville, Florida. This basically confirmed to Eleni that Pat was cheating on her, and she learned of Veronica through Haley after talking with her, before talking to Veronica herself after Pat broke up with her in January. That's all there is to the situation for the meantime. Patrick lied to Eleni and his fans, and he tried to get away with it. He seems to have gotten married with Elizabeth recently, so who knows what's going on there. There's probably more to that story as well. I'm not going to tell you what conclusion to come up with, that's up to you, but I will say my own. I think Patrick is a liar and a manipulator. He lied about going to Vegas with his brother to Eleni, he lied about not going on trips to his fans, and he manipulated Eleni's breakup text as her being unstable and mentally ill. Eleni seems to have been telling the truth the whole time, and nobody believed in her because of one reason or another. The only thing I ask from you guys is to share this video around so that more people can finally learn who the real PopularMMOs is. Thank you for watching the video, subscribe if you want, and as always, with all that out of the way, I will see you guys later.